Welcome back to the High Heels and Tea podcast. I'm Crystal Lee.
This is Rihanna.
And y'all, today we are joined by a boss babe. Her name is Dacia Polk.
Hey, Dacia.
Give us some real quick deets about you.
About me.
Yes.
So, yes. I am
Everything Dacia.
Dacia, better known as Energy. I'm a mom, a entrepreneur, businesswoman. I am a philanthropist, an artist, creative, curator, producer, designer. To my many hats, my many names, but better known as Energy because I'm kind of like energy and everything, everywhere.
Yes. Okay. So that was dope. I'm glad. I just said,
I got a question. Did you like practice that, or that's just off the dome?
That's straight off the dome.
Oh, okay.
you write poetry.
Yeah,
I do.
Do you say poetry off the dome?
Actually, you know what? I'm growing in that space. But as far as right now, I'm really heavy into like writing more than like flowing. Okay. That's a skill. That's a talent.
So flow?
People got gifts, yes. Okay.
Freestyling.
I'm gonna just say that I ain't ready for it yet because I'll say anything. And we're not ready for that yet. We're not.
So before the end of the podcast, will you be able to bless us with one of your favorite?
That would be nice. Okay.
Put me on the spot.
Exactly. But you should have known that.
Yes.
I should.
By the end, you're gonna know. You're gonna be ready. You'll be like, all right, I thought of something real dope. Okay, so I reached out to you about joining us today because I see you all the time on social media and from a poetry standpoint, but I'm learning this way more to Dacia than just poetry, but I really want to shine a lot of light on the poetry side of things in the industry. How long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so I actually started writing poetry in like the 4th grade.
That's cool. What inspired you?
You know, nature, really, more so from the beginning. Just something that I was doing that I wasn't really thinking about. Like, it wasn't anything that was encouraged or discouraged, you know. And so, just as a creative, a young creative, I liked that freedom that I had to not always think that like every time I went to make something, somebody was going to be like, let me hear it, you know. Like it was just something that I did.
Did you start off like journaling and then it grew into poetry?
Honestly, it just kind of was in tandem. I had always had journals and diaries running. It just had more to do with how people would not even believe the things that would happen to me unless they was like, unless I like gave you the full story because they did not believe it.
Yeah.
And so even at one point, I had a journal that I shared with 4 girlfriends. We went to separate schools, so it just was a cool thing. Like it was just a way to document, but also have that bond through our love of words. Absolutely. But I did not even know how that was going to manifest into me wanting to, I guess, for the most part, professionally write, remember, and recite my own words. You know?
I had recently, you put me onto Maui. With the self-care and chill Sunday, and I recently heard one of her podcasts. I was just cleaning, and I was like, you put it on there. And she mentioned something similar. That's how I was just like, she was saying that pretty much due to, I guess, like the things that was transpiring in her life as a kid, she started to write it down because when she would go to the adults and let them know like, hey, this happened to me, that happened to me, they will be like, you know what I'm saying, Shauna out. And so she just started writing about it, and then it grew into poetry, and then it grew into who she is today. So that's pretty dope.
I mean, Maui alone, though, she came here. I actually was one of her opening artists.
So we was
incredible.
We was there.
Yeah, we was there too.
Such a good time.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So I never heard of her until she.
Yeah, I like poetry.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what poetry is. It's like sometimes trauma is able to get all that stuff out. But I would say you can write about things, but with poetry, it's a different flow of words.
It is.
What you mean?
So like when you put words together as a poet, they come to your brain in a different way, as far as like rhyming or different sentences to go together. So like she was saying, she was journaling. Like you can talk and we can journal, and we can speak about like what's going on or what's happening in our life. But when you write a poem, it's like
I would say the difference between those two is like storytelling versus, because poetry does paint a picture.
Yeah.
Poetry evokes emotion. Poetry can come in all different types of shapes and sizes. You know, it's people that focus on the syllables. It's people that focus on the first letter. It's so many ways to poet. But then you do, you know, have those people who have the gift of being able to tell a story. And I feel like in a large way, those are two very, very different lanes. But you do find that there are some that have both skills where they can tell a beautiful story, but also give you that same story in a couple lines and boom, and still be just as impactful and powerful. So
I started journaling. I think I mentioned it to you. I started journaling like in November. I just thought, like, man, I gotta stop lying in my stories.
I'm done.
I gotta stop lying in my journal.
Epic. Okay. Stop
Because
that.
sometimes it be like, I don't even want to tell the truth to myself about what happened today.
It's about being accountable.
I know. So it's just like, actually, today was a really good day. I did do this and this and that. And I just be like, Crystal, no, get it out. Tell the truth.
Who you
Tell
lying
the
to?
truth.
Look yourself in the mirror.
Now, you know what? I named my journal the Preparation Station. Which is, it's inspired by one of Maui's poems that I read. And I was like, oh my God, it's dope. Because I said at the end of all this, by the time I make it to the last page, I'm going to look back at the first page and I'm going to be like, girl, you came a long
growed
way.
up. I always know you was gonna grow up.
It has definitely taken me a minute to get back into looking at some of my past.
Yes.
Because I know that's not
cringy,
who I am today. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful reminder of where you've been.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a great way.
Baby.
Yes. But, okay. And it's a great way to just see the situation outside of yourself, though. And then you also have an excellent opportunity for more recall of like what did happen. So you over here trying to smudge out some of the details.
I'm just like,
I'm like, look, just think of it in a way where it's like anything can happen between now and whoever could possibly stumble upon it. So what story of your life would you like to leave somebody behind?
well, you know, I don't think I want no one to read it. And so I'm thinking like, what if my kids find my journal?
She putting it in notations.
Yes. It's like, what if one of my girls find my journal today? I don't want you to read this today. So you can read it when
Don't do
12 months from now, mama 12 months from now. Don't read who mama is today. So I kind of like tweak things to where it's like, okay, I did tell the truth, but not the whole truth.
The future tense.
The Vinci Code. Now we gotta get a codex and decipher.
Yes, maybe I name it future tense. I'm gonna name my journal.
But that's not what it really meant.
The Da Vinci Code. I swear. And I'm like, I hope in a year from now I can go back and read this and I know like what I was saying. I'm like, I gotta be more honest with myself. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, but that's the first step.
It's okay.
Thank you. See, you see.
Speaking of existence. Absolutely.
Yes. I know what my problem
You
be.
can do it.
I know what my problem be. I know what it is.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and take me a little.
Take you a
delicious,
sip.
by the way.
Take a little sip.
So another question I had for you was, what type of poetry do you do now? Like, what inspires your poems, your work today?
Well,
is it like relationships? Is it like you said, you started from nature? What inspires your poetry today?
So that's a great question, actually. So if you ever heard me perform, I do have pieces that speak to literally any category. I have a wide range of pieces because I do perform poetry professionally. I also work custom. So I get people who come to me and want me to create pieces around a certain type of vibe or for a person in particular. And so what I do love is my overall love of words. Because oftentimes my poetry is not always specific to me.
Yes.
But in kind of veggie backing off what you were talking about as far as being more truthful with yourself, I don't think that I'm not truthful. I just don't think I put as much of myself into my pieces.
There we go. Yeah, that's what it is in my journal.
Which is what I would like. Which is what I would
make it sound better for her
this year. Mostly because everyone has a story, and there's a beautiful poet who recently just got on the scene. I want to say she's been on the scene for about 2 or 3 years now. Her name's Tracy Stanton. She goes by T Spirit, and
I saw her.
There's like she has this phrase. Her first book. It's called "Some Things Must Be Heard," and I feel like this is true.
We have her book.
Your time to shine.
Yeah, some things must be heard, right? So it's like while I don't feel like I've been holding back, I do feel like this year people will be able to see more depth as it pertains to my pieces.
T-Spirit. So what I was saying was, I was sharing with my daughter, I have her book. I went to see Obi West, who travels and does his poetry, and she opened up
At
with
the Booth Museum. I was there too.
We've been never
We've been there.
I just never met you in person, so I probably didn't see you a gazillion times.
So smart.
I had no idea.
Most likely.
Yes, I had no idea it was you. But to your point, with her poetry, I mean, when she was talking, it instantly, like, her first like 3 lines will bring tears to your eyes, because she talking about her life unapologetically, and it's like, girl, that happened to you, but then it ends so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So that's so dope.
But her stories are just so. I think what makes her pieces so profound is that her story is not her own, because she speaks to so many women. And so it's not even just
Make you feel it in your heart.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
So
I want to cry.
it just pulls you. It pulls you into the situation, but it also reminds you of people that you know. It's like what she's gone through, you know, and it's just it gets there. She goes there.
Yeah.
She don't leave no
Yeah.
she don't leave no corners unturned. She goes
You be
into
like, give me some
all of the-
popcorn.
Exactly. But I will say this: like, when I first started out performing poetry, I was very aware of the type of poetry that was out there.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do what I would call trauma bar.
Yes.
I didn't want to out the gate roll out with poetry that was just like hardcore, all of me, everything that I've been through, everything that I've seen. Like, you know, and while there is definitely always going to be that real raw facet that I'm going to be able to represent, I think that starting with the wins, starting with the with the insights, the newfound perspective, the positivity, exactly.
So
like
what's some new topics that you can really shine light on? Because I know for a fact, like, when it comes to poetry, anything that's pertaining to relationships, but from a trauma bonding standpoint, or not solely from trauma bonding in a negative way, it could be inspired to be love standpoint. Like, there are certain topics that instantly just going to captivate you, you know. What's something new that takes you out from like more of a stereotype of poetry style? She like,
I mean, come on, she's throwing some good questions.
I be journaling. I told you I
like that.
I don't be lying all the time to
What you trying
myself.
to say? You tired of crying?
No, okay. Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I read like at least a chapter before I do anything else type of person, had the time to myself, and I literally said a couple of days ago, I was like, I am so tired. I don't want to say I'm tired of healing, but I'm tired of this space. You know what I'm saying? I want fun, and I'm such a goofy person naturally, but I want fun and excitement, or I want to read something that makes me feel super good and still learn. I don't know if it's just the way things are read or the way I comprehend. I don't know if I'm just emotional, passionate. I don't know what it is. I said, all right, I'm tired of reading this. I want to read about getting money books now. Like, I gotta put these.
Your dynamic.
You
gotta change your focus. Then you gotta get stuff that centers around those things. That's gonna make you upbeat and uplifted and push more into you and more energy. You over there.
Every morning, like, oh God, what they talking about right now? Lying to myself.
You gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful what you're feeding yourself, especially
Yes.
with the literature you read. Matter of fact, at a point in time, I was heavy into erotic poetry. There was a young lady on the scene named Taylor Tales. She focused on custom erotica, and we started a clubhouse where we would be up Friday nights. But what was dope about clubhouse is that you can get everybody from all over the world. So you know, we had a little bit of everybody in the group sharing their pieces, and them things would be gone. I'm talking like we'd be up till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Just, I mean, they be talking about everything. Everything. But then it's like, be careful what you listen to before you go to sleep. Because I would fall asleep on the clubhouse. We'll have all kinds of crazy dreams. I'm like, this is not my, where is these feelings coming from? So maybe some of them feelings not even your own. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're putting that, you know, you're holding on to it because you haven't created ways to release it. And I think that the journaling is the release. But if you're reading, if you're pulling in more than you're pushing out.
And you gotta start being real in your journaling. You can't be writing down lies. Like, maybe you should put lie.
Be like, today, Mom felt good. Like, today.
Start over. start over.
You know what? It's baby steps.
It's baby steps.
1% better every time.
Yes, but it's been beautiful though. It's definitely a dope way to release. And I did start going to therapy like 3 years ago. And one of the first things that she mentioned was like, get you a journal and start writing. I was like, girl, I ain't got time for that. But I will listen, but that doesn't mean I always follow everything, but I still hear, you know, I don't reject anything and that's probably why I'm so emotional every morning, because I'm not rejecting certain stuff. But anyway, back to that. So this year was really tough. Last year, I'm sorry, was really tough, and I was like, I need to find a way to just process stuff. I get tired of talking about the same stuff. You know, you get tired of thinking about the same stuff. And I thought about the journal, and I went and got one, started writing. I mean, I felt good instantly. And then,
because you got it out.
yeah, but fast forward, and I'm like, I like the journal still, but I'm like, I can't. I gotta change what I'm reading, and you know what I mean? It felt good a couple of months ago to read these things and go cry in the corner, take a shower, and be like, all right,
But now it's time to switch it up.
But now it's like,
You want to push through. You want to jump over that.
Absolutely. But
rise.
I was gonna say, but moving out of that space. So
and I'm joking about crying in comedy. I don't be crying.
I know I'm crying. Get you so there's a shop on South Jefferson called Liberated Roots.
Okay.
It's basically a house of black-owned brands from all over the country.
Ooh.
I'm talking about just, and the lady behind it, she is a fashionista. She's into sustainable clothing, so she does a lot of hand sourcing, and I'm talking about we talking like high-end hand sourcing. So yeah, she be having some good finds in there. Okay, but she has two things. She has a rest deck, which is beautiful. It's black made, and then she has two affirmation card decks. And I would prefer to start my day with affirmations instead of only because I know what my energy is like. And when you do, it's almost like having a heavy meal in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want something heavy that's gonna bog you down. You want something that's gonna carry you at least through
that day.
Okay, so maybe you just want to switch it up, get some affirmation cards instead.
Instead, that's a dope idea. Thank you.
No doubt. And the rest,
because I think that's the answer.
Is one of those. It's sort of like an affirmation deck, but it has more to do with being mindful about getting rest and self care.
Okay.
So it's like a way for you to pull,
that.
you know, exactly, and get a tidbit of something that will. That you can carry through the day that will remind you to take a moment for you.
That's dope. Thank you. It's a good alternative.
I mean, it's one thing to tell you to get one. It's another thing to tell you where you get it from.
Yes. So. Thank you so much.
Liberated Roots.
So I see your necklace 444. What is that?
It's a sequence. So we as human beings, we see signs and symbols in everything.
Yes.
You know, it's how we understand our world around us. I am also a numerologist and astrologist, more heavy on the numerology than astrology. But it's two sides of the same coin, essentially. But numerology is my focus only because they're a little more concrete to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say a little more, a lot more concrete.
Okay.
So I teach a course. On occasion. I did a course last year on 11/11 with a young lady named Kalia. She has a company called Divine Productions, and she hosts holistic events all throughout the year, usually on celestial days. Matter of fact, we're working on partnering up for a spring equinox event. So you want to look at that? But the 444 are all numbers. They have their own inner meaning that is translated through all languages to be similar, if not the same. And so when you do study the numbers, more so from the perspective of like knowing your ABCs, you know, to that same energy, but at the same time, like, you know, words that start with A, but it's different when you know the number and you know the characteristics that are associated with the number. So that's what really the study of numerology is, just both knowing the characteristics and knowing what they could mean when they show up in sequence. And there are all kinds of sequences. There are all kinds of sequences. There's there's 11/11. There's
the 444.
444.
What we got coming up?
555. I mean
2424.
I mean, indeed, right? We came out of
February
1, 2, 3 this year, right? We started off the year.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
And so across time, people have been able to make very accurate, I'll call them guesses, as to what the energy may be or what the influence of the numbers presence may mean. And it also can be refined down to the individual, because we all have our own numbers that represent us, that are exclusive to us. So as a I know, right? So as a numerologist, I go in and I explain to you very simply my techniques, because it's not difficult. It is really just a practice.
Right.
It's a very repetitive process where you're just inundating yourself. So that's the reason why I keep the 444, is because I need the memorization for myself as far as what it means to me.
What does it mean to you?
But because I am a teacher, I am very big also on knowing the people that I'm teaching, and I know for a fact that we're very hands-on type of people, and we retain information better when we're able to do the research ourselves. So I'm going to challenge you ladies to read about this 444 and see.
I'm writing my
And think about me. And then
We gotta write it down.
whether the numbers resonate with me or if they resonate more with you.
Okay.
She plays so much. I'm ready.
So before we end that, I want you to shine light and attention on, you have an event coming up on February the 6th.
I do.
This episode will be released before the event, so you can definitely use it,
Yeah, so this conversations are heavy on poetry.
Yes.
Poetry is a love of mine. Is definitely one of my major facets. I've become more well known on the St. Louis scene because I curate a event that happens weekly. This month we've been taking a pause to rest and reset, recalibrate. But February 6th we'll be back. Yes, the return of the vibes. Word Up open mic. It is live music, poetry, and comedy experience from some of the most talented artists in St. Louis, and we have so much talent.
I'm gonna be there.
It's incredible. So it is a weekly. So we start back up that Tuesday, and then we're vibing for the rest of the year. So
I've been to several. It's a good vibe.
We're going.
it's not even just about
be here?
vibe. So y'all, it's really about
I've been a lot of
culture,
times.
community,
I've been when it was
uplifting creativity. Thank you. Exactly. And we have hopped around. We've hopped around to a couple different spaces, but we're still at Legacy Cafe, 5249 Delmar. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8.
Yeah,
Just like that.
I'm gonna be there. I'm going to this.
Tickets are on sale right now.
Yeah.
WordUpOpenMicSTL.com.
Yes. All right. Poetry. What topic did you come up with?
Yes.
What piece are you gonna end us with?
Okay. I'll give you something short and sweet. Is that cool? Short and sweet? Short and sweet, is that cool?
My little drink. Don't be making me cry now, cause
no,
don't make me cry.
keep it light.
You just said you need the good stuff.
Exactly.
Look at you already like
Cry.
My life is different now. Change for forever, change for the better, because you're here and you hear me. So that means you know more than anyone else around. I am on a cloud. I literally feel lighter than air, knowing that you're there for me. I could never lose you. And if I had to do this all over again, I would always choose you. For allowing me to believe impossible dreams, achieve unbelievable feats. I am everything I ever wanted to be with you. And that's my ode to poetry.
That's about you.
Poetry.
Whew. Look at that, she gonna cry. I ain't get my makeup done to cry. Okay. With that being said, I feel like that was a poem to me about me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, we're all in this thing together.
Like on Niecy Dash, I would like to thank me. You know?
Who else is that's
what that feels like.
During Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, it don't make sense.
I would like to thank me, but
Indeed.
that was dope. You've been super amazing, super insightful.
But she's an amazing person
very
anyway.
informative.
I've
This
known
is
you for a
my
long time.
very first time meeting her. Like I said, we're friends on social media, so I see stuff all the time. I'm big with poetry too, so I see it, and if I don't sit still and know that, I won't, captivate too much to it. But when we got ready to kick back with the High Heels and Tea podcast, because y'all know we've been away for a minute, got back to kick back, I was like, I write names down months in advance. So I'm super grateful. We're super grateful that you was able to come and bless our platform.
Appreciate you.
And make sure y'all support her.
Okay.
February the 6th. Location again.
5249 Delmar. That's correct. Legacy Cafe.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to the High Heels and Tea podcast.